Hi. 1, 2, 3, 4. Straight close up. 6,
I got a big head.
7, 8. This here is a classic example of what hunters call buck fever. If you get a chance, take a look at the video. As you can see on his face, buck fever is when an outpouring of emotion after all that long hours in the tree stand and hours practicing with your bow. I've been fortunate enough to feel that experience multiple times in the 10 years I've been bow hunting. Archery in general is a hobby that I enjoy. So today I'd like to discuss a little bit of history of archery, how the equipment has evolved, and the components of a modern bow and how to shoot. The history of archery coincides with human history. There's evidence all over the world of archery. A July 2006 article in World Archery states that the earliest evidence of archery dates back to 10,000 BC with the ancient Egyptians who used archery for hunting and warfare. Also, in China, archery dates back to the Shang Dynasty, where they had vast armies of archers that consisted of those warrior chariots with archers on there. Since its creation until the time of modern handguns, the bow and arrow was the choice weapon for hunting and warfare. Now it's carried on just through primarily hunting and competition shooting. So now I'd like to discuss how the equipment has changed from your traditional longbow, the one-piece design, as it goes down to the more modern, more sophisticated compound bow. This is a side-by-side comparison of an English longbow and a modern compound bow. The old bows were upwards of 72 inches long, made of wood, usually yew, ash, or elm, and the draw weight was 150 pounds, which meant at full draw you were holding back 150 pounds. And I don't know who could do that for longer than about 20 seconds, maybe. Compare that to the more modern bows today that are made of lightweight aluminum or carbon fiber. That are more compact, 30 to 34 inches, which is better for hunting and traveling. Their draw weight is significantly less, around 80 pounds. Probably the greatest innovation in archery would be the invention of the compound bow by Mr. Hollis Wilburn Allen. An article from the Linda Hall Library of Science, Engineering, and Technology writes that Mr. Allen was an inventor who took the design of the bow, who hadn't changed in nearly 7,000 years, and made it better. He made it more powerful, more accurate, with less effort from the archer. He did this by incorporating a pulley system, which later is known as cams. His design here was the first to be patented, and then later on was the first to be mass produced. So now we've gone over a history of bows and how they've evolved to today. I brought in my bow, which is set up for hunting. It is an aluminum riser. It has 65-pound limbs, which means I'm pulling back 65 pounds. I have a 28-inch draw length, and with the right arrow, it can shoot anywhere from 300 to about 330 feet per second. A quick demonstration on how to shoot. What you want to do is square yourself up to your target. You'll be pulling back with your dominant hand. I'm right-handed. And as you pull back, pulling back with your shoulders and your back. 2 points of contact, the corner of your mouth and your nose on the string. With your nose on the string, it allows you to look down the peep sight and line up your sight to the corresponding yardage pins. So a post in the Washington Post that shares the 1996 U.S. Olympic Archery Team Handbook describes archery as one of the oldest arts in ancient times, which is still practiced today. I believe that it is an art, and with any art you have to hone your craft, and that takes time and practice. Archery takes concentration, strength, and coordination. A good rule of thumb is it takes about 10,000 hours to master a craft. So with that being said, with learning a little bit of the history of archery, how the gear has evolved, and how to shoot a bow, I hope that inspires you to pick up a bow and learn more about yourself. According to U.S. Fish and Wild Game, there are about 15 million plus licensed hunters this year in 2021, and hunting is just one way that you can enjoy the hobby of archery. Any questions? Need some questions.
How long have you been shooting?
How long have I been shooting? Roughly about 10 years. I got into it with a friend of mine who had been bow hunting for quite some time and always been around it, but that's what got me into it. So,
what was your first bow?
my first bow was also a Hoyt, but it was a hand-me-down. So yeah, that same friend that got me into hunting passed down his bow to me, taught me how to shoot. Then later on, I purchased this, which they can be pretty expensive. So if you can get a hand-me-down, that's usually the way to go.
10,000 hours to master a craft. Is that true for everything, or is that just?
That's just general rule of thumb.
Really?
Might take people a little less depending on what you're doing.
A little more. Still trying to figure out this job.
How do you hide your scent when you're out in the woods trying to get around?
Well, you try to minimize any body odor whatsoever. You can use laundry detergent for your gear and certain shampoos for yourself. Less scent is the best. So,
Describe your first kill.
describe my first kill. It was the picture of that big boy there on the left. I'd been in my stand maybe an hour. It was my second time ever bow hunting, and he came in walking right underneath my tree stand at 15 yards, so very lucky for that.
Exactly, is that tree stand located?